I'm Kila.
And I'm Ashley.
And we met on TikTok.
2 trailers, 1 park.
And we were raised by 2 mother hustlers.
I raised my mama.
Oh my gosh, I did too.
Well, let's talk about that. We can talk shit about our moms, but no one else can. All right, welcome back, bitches.
Welcome back.
We're back again, and we have a guest this time.
Yes, Miss Kenzie Deprema.
We talked about this a few podcasts back about the MaKamey Manor and
Yes.
the torture factory, or that's what I called it. But
well, you live in Summertown?
I live close. I live in Murray County, so I live just one town over from Summertown. So we actually are going to have the guest on that we talked about a couple of weeks ago. So,
but you live there, close to MaKamey Manor.
Yes.
And so you hear things about it all the time.
Right. That's how I learned about it, was because it was on one of our Facebook groups, our local Facebook groups or something. And then because I Googled haunted houses near me or something, and that came up, and then all the, conspiracy stuff and came up with it. So I started researching it, but then I haven't researched it in a long time. But Kila brought it back to my attention, and so it's back on my radar.
So interested in it, and I cannot believe we finally get to meet somebody who's gone through it. Crazy.
That's insane. Insane.
Yes, you are the biggest deal ever to me, because I would never.
Right.
And so I'm going to read a little bit about it, and that way we know.
Yes.
Okay, so Russ MaKamey has been called the sickest man on YouTube. They say he runs a torture chamber, he pulls people's teeth, or he has them pull their own teeth, and he causes tons of psychological problems. He is the owner of the notorious MaKamey Manor. He describes itself as an extreme haunted experience where guests are promised the most terrifying and mentally exhausting 10 plus hours of their lives. It's where we personalize each and every show around an individual's personal fear and phobias. So every show is different. The haunted attraction originated in San Diego and was open for 19 years before moving here in 2017. And let's see. In 2017, Lawrence County Sheriff's deputies responded to a screaming woman being dragged by 2 men from a car into the newly established MaKamey Manor. The deputies quickly learned that the abduction was staged, but incidents like these have made the local community uncomfortable, and authorities have been working to shut down the operation ever since. So, Marine, cage fighters, cops, bikers, plumbers, housewives have all tried to go through it.
And so far, no one's actually been able to finish it, because if you do finish it, you get $20,000. That's if you finish it, right?
Right.
Okay.
And the price of admission is just a bag of dog food.
So that makes me like him
a
lot. He loves the animals.
Okay, so now Kenzie is going to tell us. I not called you Mackenzie. It's Kenzie. And you're from Rossville, Georgia.
Yeah.
Which isn't far from Tennessee.
No.
Right.
You can throw a rock and hit it.
Yeah, it's right outside of Chattanooga. And so I met Kenzie through TikTok because her cousin Hunter, we became friends with him on our TikTok page.
Gotcha. So I have questions, because I'm a very curious person. So my first question is, why? Why would you sign up for this? And do we have the wrong perspective on this? As a whole for the public? Do we have do we all just think this is like a torture factory and you're going in and getting your teeth pulled, or what? Just tell me why. Okay, well, wait. When did you go through this? When did you go through it?
In October of 2017.
Okay, well, hold on a second, because let's clear Russ's name up a little bit, because he's got a bad rap around here.
Well, we'll do that at the end. We'll do that at the end. I'm not going to dog the man. I just, ugh. See, there's some very serious serial killer vibes there. But go ahead. I'm sorry. But anyways, so tell me why you wanted to do it.
So, me and a group of friends every year, we would pick out and do research on haunted houses that we wanted to go to. And for some reason, MaKamey Manor come up. Somehow we got in touch with Russ, and through talking to him, he was like, well, why don't y'all come down and do it? And I just, sure, let's go.
Are you an extremist by nature? Are you, do you like extreme things? Do
you like to be scared to death?
There's no heights involved.
Gotcha.
So, I'm down. We went through a couple haunted houses that was full contact haunted houses.
Oh,
I didn't even know these things existed.
Yeah, there's
mm,
one up there where it's actually in a serial killer's house. So I went to that one the year before, and then I was like, well, it can only get better from here.
right. The fear factor has to be, yeah.
Yeah, so we got in touch with Russ, and at the time I was actually going through the police academy. So I was like, I can do the police academy. This isn't going to be anything. Like,
Yeah.
and Russ, I'm just gonna, he's a phenomenal man, and it was, he gives you challenges before you even get there to do.
Okay.
Like, he'll just give you random, and it's dumb stuff. I mean, it's fun, dumb stuff. It's just
Yeah.
like, hey, put on a onesie and go jump in the pillows at Walmart or something, or and then
Okay.
there's banter back and forth, between the contestants and Russ that goes
Got
on probably a week prior. Um, but it's real like low key. If you set boundaries, he stays within your boundaries.
Oh, okay. Cause see, that's what I was thinking it was the exact opposite, like, he pushed all boundaries. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, there's certain things that like he wouldn't like if you were like, "Hey, I've been in a domestic relationship before. I can't deal with certain parts. It's a trigger." Then he's like, "Okay, we're going to completely avoid that because it's real."
yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay, I'm starting to like the guy a little bit more.
So to start off though, you go there and then you have to take a bag of dog food.
right, and it goes to Pitties and Pink.
Okay. Which is amazing. And then there's a waiver.
Oh my god. Yes.
What was it just you or did you how many of y'all went together?
I went with my ex-husband.
Okay. So just you 2 in
Yeah,
your group?
yeah, because we had read like, don't go alone just because it's funner to interact with each other and stuff.
Yeah.
And it almost offers for the people who are friends with people or married to somebody or in a relationship with somebody who goes, it almost offers a sense of peace knowing that your friend
Yeah,
or significant other's right there with you.
right. Yeah, security, that makes sense. Um, how long how long did you have to wait before you got to go?
I think we waited like 2 weeks because our kids were home one weekend, and then the next weekend we were like, "Let's go, let's do this." So
Had
it was
you
pretty quick.
researched him, like, on YouTube beforehand?
I had, um, but then I also got close to the one in Alabama, the family. So, we would all chit chat back and forth, kind of just to see what was going on. And the family, if you get past Holly's Playhouse, you get to go to the family, which is in Alabama. So
I'm
we
confused,
would,
what is
So it's like different challenges that you have. So you do this waiver, which they say is like 40 pages long, and you have to read it out loud
yes, on
and
video,
on video. Okay. And how long does that take?
like 3 hours.
Okay. So
If you're a
does
fast
that count as
reader.
does that count up as like your 10 hours there or 8 hours
No,
plus? No?
that's
Okay, so
before it
that's
all
different.
starts. Yes.
So then you go like what was the first thing that you had to do?
Um, well, first we had to go buy onesies and then sit down. And when we got to the property, Russ was very welcoming. He showed us around his house, and then he was like, "Hey, before we go into this, like, are y'all sure you want to do it?" We were like, "Yeah." And then they were like, "All right, well, here's the waiver," and he hands you like a book,
Uh-huh.
and he's like, "Read through this, sign everything, but you have to read it out loud for the camera."
Okay. And so once you get through the waiver part, then and is it really like things like you may get a bone broken, you may lose a tooth, you may shave your
It's
head?
it's very physical.
Okay.
Not like physical as in them putting their hands on you. I mean, they do, they're on top of you the whole time, not like hurting you or anything, but your reactions could cause you to get hurt.
Like you're gonna get a bruise.
so that's
Right.
what they're
You're
talking about
definitely
when they
going to get a
say
bruise.
you could get a broken bone. It's not that they're gonna break your bones, but you may break your bones from
Trying
your
to get away.
reaction.
Right.
Gotcha.
Because it puts you in in like this mental fog that you just kind of sit back and you're like, whoa, what's really going on?
Okay, so once you get inside and you get past the waiver, like what was the first scary thing that happened?
God, was that first? I think the first thing, I got put in a tub of like freezing cold water.
Okay.
And it was weird because I'm 5'2". So for me to be put in a tub of water, I'm like, oh no, I'm little. So I got put in a tub of water, and I will say during that time, Russ was very caring because I got really cold at one point, and it was to the point he was like, "Stop videoing, stop doing everything. Hey, if you don't quit shaking, we're gonna have to get you out of here and warm you up."
Okay, so you were
How long were you in the tub?
Honestly, I don't know. Like, your senses are all taken from you. And I think that's where people are like, oh, it's a torture house, because you really don't, like, you don't see it before you go in it. You don't know what you're getting into, and then you don't have senses.
So you think like reading the waiver kind of gets you in your head and gets you freaked out before you even
Oh yeah,
go?
because the waiver is like, you could suffer a broken bone, or you could suffer a broken bone or potential harm. But I mean, the people who are going through this are signing this. They understand
Right.
what could happen.
Right.
It's
Yeah, that's my thing is I don't understand why he gets a lot of the slack when grown ass adults read this and sign it and want to go through and have this into them. So
right.
on one end, that's kind of crazy to me that
Well,
And he has returning people. He has people that come back over and over again.
so do you think that the YouTube videos only show like obviously like it's a highlight reel like Facebook, like so it makes it look like it's all just torture and gore
Oh,
and
definitely.
yeah, but like when you're there it's just like you're just kind of being pushed to your limits and
Yeah, emotionally, physically, like you're in this headspace of it's a survivalist headspace. That's the
now
best
is
way I know
your
to put
ex
it.
watching you in this water? Are you like is your head being pushed under the water or you're just
So
laying in the
no,
water?
I was just laying in it.
Okay.
And I don't know what was like above me, but I know I could reach up and I'd be like, oh God, I can't feel anything but solid.
so were your eyes covered?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Because he does that at first, right? As soon as you get done with the waiver, he puts something over your face or your eyes. And is it like that the entire time?
It was for us.
Okay.
I've seen some of the videos where they have their senses.
Okay. So that's 90% of it right there. Like you said,
Not
your senses are
knowing.
being taken. That makes sense to me now. Like, yeah, you don't know what's coming next. Like,
Yeah, because
And
I was
then,
like, "Oh, you're just laying in water. I can do
right,
that."
right. We're about to go get our 20,000 girl.
and
I can handle
once,
some cold water.
well, once I got out of that, he put headphones on me and it was a baby crying.
Oh, which is
Oh.
torture.
And I have children.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I was like, oh God. So he puts you in this headspace that is a natural fight or flight headspace.
Hmm.
I have sensory overload. I would be like twitching.
Well, I
Right.
feel like I'm always in fight or flight anyways. Like my
Right.
body never calms down. I'm always in survival mode. Okay, so then you did the crying and you were just wrapped up in a towel or a robe and
No, I was in my cow onesie,
okay.
Still
Towel.
soaking wet.
still soaking wet.
Oh, you were still soaking wet. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Um, and it's weird because I will say they do have a first responder on scene.
Oh,
Of course he's off duty at the time,
right.
but there is someone there, and that was kind of Russ's angle when he was like, hey, if you don't like warm up and get it together, we're gonna have to stop for obvious reasons.
Now, did I read that you guys were the first group to go through in Tennessee?
I believe so. I believe Brandon went after us.
Okay. I was thinking I read that. That's crazy.
Okay, so what happened next? So you had the headphones on with the crying baby, and then
So
did you get
then,
emotional?
yeah, it was like a panic moment because I mean,
Mhm.
at the time, so 2017, my youngest was born in 2015, in
So you got a
October
little
of
one.
2015. Yeah, so that was like, hey, wait a minute, I got something I got to do.
Mhm. Your
Because as
mommy
a mom,
instincts.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
you hear that and you're like, why is there a crying kid in my ear?
And then your boobs started producing milk and all the. I'm just kidding.
Started
You were
leaking.
lactating and stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
But so then it was like, okay, and you could tell you were inside, you just didn't know what you were inside
Because
of.
you're still blindfolded.
Yes. So
Okay.
it was goggles, and on the inside of the goggles it had like cotton balls in it, and the
Oh,
goggles were painted.
Okay.
oh,
So it was complete sensory deprivation.
yeah, for sure.
And with that, and then going through the police academy at the time, it was like, wait a minute, how do I react to this?
Mhm.
So then you can tell, like, they move you, and you can tell you go outside, but you can't tell what you do. My ex-husband ran into a tree.
Oh,
That
Well,
was,
well,
he's
we're
an ex, so
right.
yeah, like,
thank you, Russ. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, I would have paid to, like, be able to
Right.
see that in person. But, and I guess that's where the physical, like, well, you can come out with bruises or broken bones. Yeah, there's a tree out there. Ow.
Right.
And then at some point you do, I don't remember what it was that he had us do, but it was like a choice between two things. And you remember just like putting chains on and trying to get up. And you're still outside doing it.
So you were trying to get out of the chains? Was that the goal? Was for you to get out of the.
No, it was more like a lifting.
Oh, okay.
Like you put it on like backpack straps and then
Right.
had to go from there. And it was different because once again, you're sensory deprived.
Mhm.
So you have a headphone on, these crazy goggles, you're soaking wet, and now you're chained.
No, they've taken the headphones off you at that time because they don't want you to, run into trees. So they
Okay.
can kind of guide you
Right.
around. And when we went, it was Russ, Holly, and her brother was the first responder.
Okay. So you were telling me a little bit about Holly. So you,
That's the girlfriend. Is that what that was his girlfriend or wife?
Yes.
nah. Oh, it is Russ's girlfriend?
I don't know if they're still together. I haven't
Yeah,
asked Russ
according to
about
that
that. But,
that YouTube thing, it said they weren't together and she took all the props or something. But that was on YouTube and I don't know how true that is.
And so Holly's her own little scary entity herself.
yes.
So it's
Like,
Holly's playhouse.
she would randomly squeal and you'd be like, what is that?
Oh, yeah, that would be freaky.
So I think the way to get the $20,000, you've got to complete each.
Oh.
There's like, is there 20 stages?
See, I don't know because when we went, it was $1,000.
Okay.
Oh.
So it was $1,000 for the whole thing, not just per stage.
Right, and it was like, "Hey, if you tap out on this one, you can move on to the next, but we're taking 100."
Oh,
Okay.
gotcha. So every stage, okay, there's different stages.
Uh-huh.
And one of them is Holly's play. What'd you say?
You got
Holly's
Holly's
Playhouse.
Playhouse.
Because you
Um,
said, now if you completed Holly's Playhouse, then you got to go to Alabama.
right, and that
So
was
then
with
you
the family, is
so
what
then
they
you get to
call
go be tortured another day.
it.
Or do you go that same day?
So the way they were doing it when we went, like I said, that was 2017, 5 years ago.
Uh-huh.
The way we were doing it, they were doing it when we went, is if you pass through, they would go ahead and call them and say, "Hey, come get them."
Oh, how far away were they?
Um,
Well, it's in Huntsville, right?
Oh, okay, so not far. Yeah,
yeah,
Huntsville's
no,
not far.
Yeah.
it was right there. I mean,
So
it
they would
was,
have probably picked y'all up with the blindfolds on and drove you to Huntsville.
yeah.
And then who's the family? It's just
Um,
actors.
yeah, it's people who have gotten into this. I don't know if they're actually related or not. At one point, we had gotten really close to them on a personal level, not on the haunt level.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they're good people too. There was one there that went by Mama, and then the brothers, and then you had a sister and a grandma or a grandpa.
So you're going to stay with this family, and they're going to torture the shit out of you.
They're supposed to be on a
Potentially.
swamp.
To do what?
They're
In the
supposed to be on
swamp?
a swamp. Yeah, so the
Okay.
swamp kind of carries the persona over to it.
And all the while, you're blindfolded.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you make it to the family?
No.
Okay, you can continue what you were doing. Sorry, I was
So
excited.
we want to hear about Holly's Playhouse.
Yeah.
So, like I said, you don't know where you're really at until you're outside and you can kind of feel it. I know there was something to climb. Like I said in the beginning, I am terrified of heights. So I think I got like 1 foot and 2 hands on it and was like, no. I can't
Because you
see
don't know
the
where you're
ground.
at.
Yeah.
So is
right.
that considered you tapping out?
For that one, it was, but they gave my ex-husband at the time the option to do it, and he had something on his back as well. So it was just kind of one of those, he could pick it up, and that's another thing about going with a friend. Like your friend can always pick it up,
Oh, okay. Complete the task or whatever.
right, and still try for that 100 instead of just getting it taken away. As if you go alone, it's like, hey, I'm not doing this one, but we got
damn. So is that why y'all got divorced? Because my husband would be like, you didn't give up $100 and you could do that.
Get you not riding home with me. You live here now.
You're going home with a family.
No, like I felt
kidding.
bad for him. I was like, I'm wimping out. You got this. Go you.
And then, so you were done, or you just had to wait for the next task?
I just had to wait for the next task, and like there was a safe word. I don't remember what ours was, but before we went to the next one, I went ahead and called it. I was like, I can't. I just can't do it anymore. And that was probably about 3 hours in.
Okay.
How long did your ex-husband last?
They asked him if he wanted to continue, and he was like, no, I want to check on my wife.
So did you feel, so you did the bathtub, the headphones with the crying baby, and then the chain thing?
They did that, and then they did something with our teeth.
What was that?
It was like, they tell you you're seeing the dentist, and, you'll hear the noises you hear when you normally go to a dentist.
Right.
And then you feel them in your mouth, and you kind of panic because there's a numbing agent used.
Oh.
And, like I said, being close to Russ at the end of it, I was like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
What is that? And he kind of just said, this is what it was. And
they're doing like a rub on lidocaine type thing.
Kind of, without it being lidocaine, because lidocaine is,
or like an Oragel type.
Yeah, it was clove.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was where that kind of led to, and just.
I mean, does it feel like you really could lose a tooth? Does it numb your mouth that much?
Yeah. It's like one of those, you got out of it and you're like checking your mouth.
Huh.
Are you not allowed to tell like super details?
So there is an NDA that you sign.
Yeah.
And it's touch and go. Like I said,
right.
I talked to Russ before I come on here, and he said, just do me good.
Yeah.
So I don't think, because for a while, being in law enforcement, he was one of those, he'd be like, hey, check out this part of the waiver that I changed. Does this sound better?
Yeah.
Now, after you say your safe word and you're done, can you go tour the house and see what they're doing to you, or is it still a secret, or?
It's still a secret because you do have people that go out and actually like.
Yeah, you said somebody goes over it like they're bound and determined to make it through.
Yeah, there's a guy named Brandon.
I do too. And I don't know why I never really done Halloween.
And he's probably been 6 or 7 times.
Oh.
And he's an Army vet. Maybe, excuse me, I might have got the wrong branch, but he's a veteran.
Yeah.
And when we were going through, he was active duty waiting to come home to do it.
Oh, okay.
And
would you do it again?
Would I?
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah, in a heartbeat.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, it's one of those, it's almost like a break from reality in the worst possible way.
Right.
And so, but everybody, are they dressed up and like on YouTube, it looks like they're all crazy looking characters.
You get more of that when you go to the family.
Oh.
So when it was just Russ Holly and her brother, it was just them.
Get that Alabama family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brothers, mothers, cousins. Yes.
Oh,
so you lasted 3 hours.
About that. And
did you get any kind of prize?
No. When we got done, he, Russ set you down in these 2 chairs. And he's like, state your name and how long you made it. And I just sat down and all I could do was shake my head and cry.
Really?
Yeah.
It's that mentally.
Well, it was just like.
So you freak your own self out.
Yeah. 100%.
That's interesting.
That's crazy that he gets all this flack though for you scaring yourself.
Yeah.
Was yours filmed?
Yes, I believe so. I know Madison, Hunter's wife, has sent me a video before and was like, "What were you doing, KP?"
And was it on YouTube?
Yeah, that was where she found it. And I was trying to find it before, but all I could find was a journalism publication that I sent to Kila.
Yeah.
And I mean, even in there, you could tell how cocky I was. Like, yeah, I think I'm going to make it through.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got there and I was like, shit, no.
Yeah.
Is there any lingering effects after? Or do you have after you get back home? Or are you like PTSD?
I'm very competitive. So for me, it was like a disappointment.
Right. Like I didn't finish it.
Yeah, it was like, and that was why in the end of the video, like all I could do was cry. Because I was like, I expected to go further. I didn't think that this would be as hard as it is. Because it's physically taxing. It's physically emotionally taxing.
Now, is there like rats or snakes or?
He has eels.
Oh.
Like I would have a heart attack if I thought something
was touching me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
spiders. He has large eels.
So that could be.
Are they in the bathtub with you?
No, they're in another tank, and that's what we were about to go into when I tapped.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. I would have tapped too.
So what does he usually do there? Because I haven't watched anything with
the eels. Yeah, I haven't either.
Does he make them put their hands in it or something?
You get in it.
Oh. All right.
Yeah.
Yep, that's where I'm tapping too.
Can't eels hurt you?
Yeah, they sting.
It's
like electrical, ain't it? It's like electrical shock or something.
And a cool fact about them is they're actually his pets.
Oh. Huh.
I did have a rope fish one time that was like a cousin of an eel, and they were really interesting to watch because they're like snakes, but eels at the same time. And I had it in an aquarium, and they were really cool, but they wouldn't sting or anything.
Yeah, and I don't know if his would have. I heard eels. I was cold. I was wet. It was October, and I was like, no, I'm done.
Damn, how big is this tank he's got full of eels?
It's huge. It's like a shipping container from my understanding of it, because you don't get to see any of it.
Right. Huh. Well, that's crazy.
Yes. So they're electric. I knew that it was like some kind of electric shock that they give you.
Now Is that the scariest haunted house you've done, or has there been others that have scared you worse? Or
Absolutely, but the thing about Russ's is if you do it, like when you come out, you don't really look at it like a haunted house. It's more of a like
a
Ashley,
mind,
it's a fear factor.
Yeah.
right?
It's like an endurance test. See
Yeah,
how, yeah.
and then once it defeats you, you're like, oh god.
Yeah.
And so I wonder how long I think 8 hours. I think I read somewhere 8 hours is the longest somebody's lasted. Do you know?
Yeah, probably. But there was one girl that was going through, and she was going through 3 or 4 times. I don't remember
I think
her
I
name,
watched some of her.
but that was where a bunch of the allegations came from as well.
Right.
And it was like, well, you just can't get the money.
So what do you think, what's his reason for doing it? Because he doesn't make money off of it other than, like, I guess YouTube, right?
That's my only thought on it is that, you know, he promotes the stuff that goes out, and with y'all doing podcasts, y'all know y'all get a revenue off.
Girl, we don't get no revenue.
Girl,
off
no, we
nothing.
are the revenue. Call us the IRS.
It led
Yes.
him, you know, it led him to a series on Hulu.
Well, I was going to ask. He probably gets a portion of like different shows, or if they do the different shows, which I know that's not a lot of money either.
But I heard he was a greeter at Walmart.
I
Is
think
he?
he does work at Walmart now.
See?
But he's been
And no, that's not nothing bad, but my thing is,
no.
like, is it, like, does he make enough to sustain himself?
Well, he's ex-military too, though, isn't he?
Yes, he's ex-Navy.
Yeah. Did he do like Navy SEALs, or is that like where some of this comes from? Or I don't know what he did
Like
there.
special ops?
Yeah.
Honestly, the thought on what he does it for is he's an entertainer. He's big into entertainment. Like he had the one out in California, he moved it to another state, and then he found home in Tennessee.
So he just likes to.
And is that because he got ran out of, was it Indiana or something that he did? Was he in
When he
Indiana
moved from California,
Yeah.
he was going to open somewhere and they wouldn't let him. And then he
Right.
come to Tennessee.
Yeah.
And
did
that's
read
because
it.
our laws are, like, more lax or something.
Yeah.
It's all
And
interesting to me.
the police never showed up while we were there.
And
So
for him to be in California for 19 years before that. Well, that's crazy to me.
oh yeah.
What happened out there? Do you know?
All the negativity started coming in, and from my understanding, and I might be misspeaking, but they had a meeting, like a council meeting, and just said, hey, this can't go on anymore.
Because they have people, like, right now that are, like, picketing in front of his house or whatever. Like,
And
I've
that's
heard.
happened since I went.
What'd you say?
That's happened since I went.
I think, like, I think I read that, like, they actively have a group of people, which that's probably what they're trying to do is, run him out. Because I guess by law, they can't run him out, but, just keep standing in his driveway or, on the road and basically making him go. Because I read somewhere that there was, like, a lot of signatures on
Yeah, like over
Petition.
200,000.
yeah.
But I think the people that are actually picketing are people that want to go through it or have tried to go through it or that have been through it.
Now,
why are they?
I will say, like, he does, like, dot his I's and cross his T's, because I had to get medical clearance from my doctor. I had to go see a psychiatrist to make sure I was mentally competent enough to go through it.
That's crazy.
Like,
I mean, you sign up for it. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you've done all of the things. I mean, in my mind, if you're the one, no one's making you do it, then it's on you. But it probably falls under the same category as, like, assisted suicide.
Well, there was that letter from the Attorney General's office. Did you read it?
Yeah, that's what I was.
And it said that what did it say?
And this was just Halloween of this year.
That they really basically can't do anything. It is
No,
our
this is
understanding that you own MaKamey Manor and relocated from California to Summertown following your San Diego operation being shut down due to a public outcry. A 2019 promotional video from MaKamey Manor's page. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing. It basically says there's nothing they could do because you don't see the waiver. You're going into it blind and signing the waiver while you're on camera.
right.
They don't have access to the lengthy waiver that describes the risk involved.
And 16 Leo, he's another YouTuber. He did a bit on it and went through the actual waiver.
Gotcha.
He found the waiver online and read through it.
So what it says, former participants describe the adrenaline and pressure they felt when reviewing the waiver at the start of the tour. One interviewee said, I had too much excitement going through my veins at the time. If the waiver would have said that a man's going to come out of the woods and murder you during this event, I would have signed it.
I probably would have too.
No.
Because it
Because
does get very exciting.
Oh, I'm sure.
It says, it is the most exciting thing that you have ever done. And this is from the Attorney General's office.
But it does say that the $20,000 like does not exist or is impossible to win. And he's like, right, because you'll never win. So I wonder if he'll just like kill you at the end. Like, I'm just going to slice your throat because we have no more task for you to do.
Your task
No,
is completed.
He's very creative.
That in an ending of itself is
He's like a
amazing
real live
to me.
Steven Spielberg.
Because I would be so like, I mean, I'd poke you for 10 minutes and be like, are you done? Like, okay, so that didn't work. Like white noise, I would be like, you have to be very innovative to come up with some of these things. Because like you said, it's you harm yourself. He don't harm you,
Right.
And see,
So-
taking your senses away, that's brilliant.
Yeah. Number one.
That is 100% brilliant. Like
Yeah.
right off the rip, hey, you can't see what's going on.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I'm out. I wouldn't do it. But I would like to go watch somebody do it. But
Oh gosh, no. I watched one YouTube video and the guy he read the 3-hour waiver and he got in the back of the truck and they got to the farm or whatever and he got out of the thing and they like immediately dunked him in a water tank and held him down for a second and he was like, nope, I'm done. I mean, he didn't make it 10 minutes. And I was like, I can't handle it. Like it's like, that's
that one lady that's done it a few times, her coming out of it, like, bless her heart, I'm just like, she just looks like completely off her rocker.
You're defeated.
Like she's just like she just looks like she's been so tortured.
Yeah, but I also watched a girl on that one YouTube video where she's screaming and screaming and screaming, and he had like coached her to do that for YouTube, and she come out and said like, yeah, it was all act. Like he asked me to come and make this video so to promote it or whatever, and I don't know why she's turning her back on him now. I didn't get through the video, but she was like, because it was a picture of her like chained up and she had like black stuff all over her and she's screaming bloody murder, and she was like,
well,
no,
because people want their 10 minutes of fame.
Yeah. And she said that like, but someone got like a hard drive with like all of the extra material on it where it's like it's more of like just nothing's happening and him coaching them to like scream or whatever. So I don't know. I'm sure he's pretty pissed about whoever that friend was that outed him on YouTube. But I think this has been his life, right? Like he's forever being outed and trying to investigate him and somebody's always trying to shut him down.
Now it's just a norm to him. Like he knows he's going to catch fire. He knows he's, it's just the way that you're right. It's his life at this point.
Yeah. And that sucks. I mean,
surprised.
Yeah. I'm glad that he can handle it. I would not be able to be ridiculed so much and so like everybody's life goal to be to take me down. Like couldn't do it.
And just be a strong person.
The sad part about it,
but in that community too. I'm sorry, Kenzie. Look, I'm interrupting people. On his Facebook, though, he has a lot of his neighbors. it looked like a lot of them defend him as well as the people ridicule him. Like he's like, what? They're like, what's going on? Do we need to come over there?
Well,
What
probably
do we need to do?
because like Kenzie, they know him on a personal level.
Right.
And so they like him.
So there was, at the time we went through, there was one neighbor, because he had just moved out here, and there was one neighbor that was just like determined that this was not going to go on.
Mm-hmm.
And it got to a point with her that if a new car pulled up in the driveway, police were called.
Oh, she was a Karen before Karens come out.
Yes.
And it's probably because she probably thought like I did, like he's literally over there torturing people.
Mm-hmm.
And I, trigger warning, you know, some people love pain. That's like a escape for them. So in my mind, I'm thinking he's chaining these people up and whipping them with whips and stabbing them with cattle prods. And I mean, this is what I thought until I talked to you. I mean, so they're probably like, I get why she would be like, no, I'm
Right.
not going to live next to a serial killer who almost murders people every day. But little do you know, it's more of a psychological warfare on yourself. Like you do it. I mean, he creates the task, but you can tap out at any time. You know what I mean?
Well,
Yeah.
he pays people to kidnap you. So,
Right. And
neighbors watching
everybody,
you get kidnapped going, whoa.
everybody wants everything to be bigger and, you know,
Right.
Well, that's
worse
the
than.
thing. He has reached levels of a haunted house that no one else has been able to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, you know, people go there and they're like, oh, I can do that. I can do that. And like at the end of it, when we were getting ready to leave, I was like, hey, give me my eyesight and I could do it.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, that takes the fun out of it.
Right. Yeah.
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 I can see that.
Yeah. If I give you your senses back, you're going to know that all you're doing is sitting in cold water. You know what I mean? Yeah. All you're doing is climbing a tree with 4 steps. Like, you know, if I gave you your senses back. So yeah, that makes sense. Total sense. So I think they do, because I had a total different perspective on him. I mean, I really thought like he's just a serial killer and people just want to go get pushed all the way to death and then brought back.
But like he really does say in all of his articles, so it's smoke and mirrors.
But I think he likes that people think that it's a torture factor. Because because that makes people want to do it. You know, the people who are interested are going to want to do it to see if they can, you know, get through it, endure or whatever. So it makes sense. Like it's all like it is smoke and mirrors. That's all it is. And that makes total sense.
So ladies and gentlemen, if you want to be tortured, come on to Summertown, to MaKamey Manor, and
bring your dog food. Do not forget the dog food or you will be escorted back.
Yes, make sure you don't forget that daggone dog food.
And get the good kind. Don't get old Roy, okay? I mean, hell.
That's what we did. We really appreciate it.
Oh, sorry.
We're animal lovers.
Oh,
no,
I thought you meant you got old Roy. It's okay. It's okay if you got old Roy.
No, but we're animal lovers, and that kind of caught us too. Like, this man doesn't ask for anything but dog food.
And that's what I was going to say. Like, well, obviously he's not a serial killer because most serial killers start by abusing animals. You know what I mean? Like, that's their first thing is like they torture animals. And I mean, he's caring for animals. So that either that or he actually is a serial killer and he's got people like me thinking like, oh, he's a dog lover. And he's actually like, I don't know. I'm just kidding. Russ, we would love to meet you whenever you're out of all these contracts and whatever.
We need to get him on here.
He caught a lot of hell over.
He has.
Well, he caught a lot of hell over Pitties in Pink being what he donates to.
Oh,
yeah.
Pit bulls need love too, people. Leave them alone. It's not bad dogs, it's bad owners.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you go to these animal shelters, it is mostly pit bulls.
Yeah.
It's sad.
So
both of my rescues have pit bull mixes.
Yeah. So it's just.
Oh, yeah, that probably just ties into the whole, oh, he loves pit bulls because they eat children and, you know, and he's a serial killer. And I mean,
can feed them to the pit bulls.
I mean, that just pads the whole look.
My pit runs for my kids.
What'd you say? I'm sorry.
My pit runs for my kids.
Oh, mine too. Mine do too. Mine shakes like a leaf. She's so scared of her own shadow. She can't even, bless her heart. She pisses herself if you cough too loud. So, anyways, it was really good having you on.
Nice meeting you, Kenzie, and thank you so much for coming and We have been so
and
interested in the story.
shedding light, because I was on the phone with my friend on the way up here, and I was like, we have a girl from MaKamey, and she was like, oh my God, I can't. I said, I can't watch it either because it's like torture, and I can't watch people like being dunked in tanks and their teeth being pulled. And she was like, yeah, I couldn't either. And so this gives me, sorry, Russ, but you're probably actually like a real big softie. And so sorry that
is.
we've exposed that, okay? We are really sorry that we've exposed that you're a softie. Kenzie, you're probably going to get a call like in a couple weeks, like, damn it, you were supposed to be on there, like, I pulled your toenails out and I hung you up. Yeah, sorry about that. But now we have uncovered, this is the real truth. The real
I
truth
think
is that Russ is a softie and he doesn't want anybody to know it.
Y'all so leave him
we've
alone.
gotten to a point where, you know, he's older. This has gone on so long that he's tired of catching the heat.
Yeah,
Right.
I can totally imagine.
Like, it might be a breath of fresh air.
Right. Yeah.
To
I'm
be
gonna
like,
I'm gonna
okay.
drive down there and park in his driveway since I got his address from the Attorney General's office and be like, Russ, get over here and give me a hug, you big old teddy bear. Here I was thinking you was pulling people's toenails out and you ain't.
And the coolest thing was after we did that, he was like, hey, y'all want to go to a haunted house?
Oh,
He's
so
like,
then he
we'll
took you
load
to a
up
haunted
right now
house.
and go to Alabama and go to a haunted house.
aw,
Hey,
that's
but don't
cool.
go to that family's house because you don't know what you're gonna get there.
Yeah, again, before we get off here, the family, do you think they're related to him or they're just like friends that are an
They're
extension?
also entertainers.
Gotcha. Because I haven't heard anything about them. I didn't know anything.
Now they're scary. Like if you
I
talk
bet.
to
I mean, being called the family, that's just scary enough. Like,
We might have to have the family on.
yeah. Like, I'm gonna have to look more into that. I'm gonna write that down right now. The family. Let's look into
yeah,
that.
I mean,
So if you make it to that far,
you've done good.
yeah, and you really about to get tortured.
Yeah,
You're
that
gonna go
scares me
through
just
small.
thinking about somebody picking me up in a car and
Yeah, and then there being like 6 of them
you
and you
probably
can't
have to
see
sit
them.
in the middle of them and they're talking to you over here.
Oh my gosh.
That is scary.
Kenzie, it was great having you on. Thank you for sharing your time with us and enlightening us. And I do not think you're a psycho now. I appreciate that. No, I really did think like I really thought like people who signed up for it were more, instead of just like endurance or like adrenaline junkies, they were like they wanted to be hurt and pain, and like that's what I was thinking. Like, but I mean, I get that that that's part of it, or it could be part of it going into
Yes.
it, but yeah, it sheds a new light on it that
Yeah.
it's not, people
We're
that
not
just
just a
want.
bunch of psychopaths.
Right, you're not just wanting your throat slit for YouTube likes or something. I didn't know, whatever.
And if y'all can get in touch with him, Brandon is an amazing guy to
Okay.
talk to about that. Because like I said, he's been through it 4, 5, 6 times.
Okay, we'll totally get on YouTube and
Yeah, we'll find Brandon and you talk to Russ and we'll all just meet back up here.
yeah, let us know what Russ says, and we'll send you the link.
Bring your family.
Whenever this airs, we'll send you the link and you send it to Russ, and then let us know what he says, or tell him to let us know, or whatever. And yeah, that'll be cool. We'll have some
Absolutely.
feedback.
I'm
And
glad.
you need to go binge all of our episodes before so you can know
Like,
who we are.
follow, and subscribe.
That's right.
Yeah, I will
Yes.
definitely.
This is our
do
first
that.
episode not talking about our mama, and I have to say it kind of felt good.
It was good. It was good. Nice.
Yeah. All right, Kenzie. Well, thank you so much, and we will talk at you later.
All right, thank y'all.
All right.
Have a good night. Bye.
Bye. Do we
And-
have to say, remember, you can talk shit about our moms, but
No one else can. No, we can talk. Did you say?
I don't know what I
We can
said.
talk shit about our moms, but no one else can. And follow the
That's your line.
subscription. Follow the links in the description to go to all the social medias. Follow us, subscribe, tell everybody you know, and send us money. Thank you.